Hello everyone and welcome back to the series. We're here in Spa for the main race, the 5-lap race. If you haven't already seen the sprint race that happened yesterday, then make sure you check that out as well. It was one of the best races I think we've had on the channel. The same 12 drivers head out for their formation lap to warm up their tyres and brakes and get in position, but this time the other way around. Oscar leading the pack, getting pole position for the third time in a row. He didn't finish the sprint the first time, he didn't finish a race, so we're looking to get yet another win onto the board. He won the last race and he's in the prime position to win this one as well. Blurry coming next. He had a pretty poor sprint. He had such a great battle with Apex and Blazin, but that ended up in tears for him and he only scored 2 points. He will want to get past Oscar as quick as possible so he can defend his championship lead. He started in 6th position in Automation Test Track and managed to win against Oscar's pole position, so it's definitely possible. Miko again qualifying impressively higher, only 4/10ths away from the pace set by Oscar, much closer than previous weekends. Let's see if he can convert this one into another podium. He's sitting 10th in the standings at the moment, but given where he's qualifying, you'd expect him to be much higher, so hopefully he can move up a couple more spots. The same could be said for Avery, sitting 12th in the standings, but qualifying 4th, only 5/10ths off the time set by Oscar. Avery has been quite unlucky with his racing so far, an incident in Suzuka and an incident in the sprint that were both not his fault that caused him to go out of both races. So hopefully he can just have a nice clean race and get back some decent points. Idodatdoda starting in 5th, won the sprint yesterday from 8th on the grid, so is definitely capable of rising up the ranks and securing the win. He'll be one to watch out for in the first stages of the race, whether he can make those moves quickly or not when the grid isn't reversed and the faster cars are ahead of him. One of the few cars in that epic battle, Blazin starts in 6th position, 2.5 seconds off Oscar's pace, and Apex also with a very similar pace. They had that amazing battle in the sprint. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out because it was probably the best battle we've seen on the channel so far. Let's see if they can top it in the race today. Starting behind them is Bones. Spa-Francochamps is Bones' favourite track on the calendar, and he got a podium there in his special livery that he's running for this weekend, his dark mode livery. So he knows he can do it. He's done it in the sprint, but doing it in the main race is a whole new challenge, and you get plenty more points as a reward for the challenge that lies ahead. Penn's truck could also use some more points, sitting on 17. That puts him 11th in the standings, despite only having 1 DNF. He spun out on the first lap in the sprint, but this race is a new day and he'll be looking to score big today. Our rookie Halos was unfortunately taken out quite early in the sprint. He'll be starting from the rear of the field today, but if it's as chaotic as it was yesterday, surviving might be his best bet to bag as many points as he can, as the cars head around the last chicane now. Seth and Bizet have been left a bit behind, but they're the next 2 cars we're going to have a look at. Because of their lag, they can't even keep up on the formation lap, even driving at max pace. That's how much their performance is being hindered by their lack of frames. So the other drivers will have to watch out for them because they're for sure going to be lapped in a 5-lap race. Bizet did score 1 point in his sprint though, putting him 14th in the standings. As they come and approach the grid, everyone's lined up and ready to go. We're all set for the main race in Spa. We have 5 laps ahead of us. If this race is going to be anything like the sprint, we're in for a treat as the last cars find their positions of the grid. We're all set to go racing. Cars start revving up. The race will begin in 3 beeps time. And we're underway in the main race in Spa, and Miko has had a shocker of a start. He drops down to 7th position as the cars head towards the first corner. Oscar maintains the lead. And Blurry chops across and makes contact with Apex that gets spun around after hitting Bones, and they're both stuck as the rest of the cars head on. Many cars going wide to avoid a crash there. Avery is up to 2nd position and Miko has recovered back to 4th. Ido is in 3rd, making his way into the podium positions again. Up the hill they go. Oscar maintains the lead while going off the track, and Avery is right behind him. They crashed at that very corner in the sprint. Apex looks like he's able to continue on going, but Bones must have suspension damage as he struggles up the hill, taking to the old pit exit road. Oscar's got a big enough gap to not have to worry about anyone getting a slipstream down the Camel Straight. So into the Lacombe chicane they go, bouncing over the curbs as he heads around the lap, leading the way. The top four are very close here in terms of pace. Ido going down the inside of Avery. Is he going to try down into the Broussard corner, down the inside? Yes, he is. Avery seems to be a bit further ahead of him, but if he can keep that inside line, maybe on the exit, yes, he's made the move, but Avery is still trying to hold on to that position, and in the end, Ido will edge ahead of him. Both cars taking an excursion off the track, and now Miko is right on the back of Avery. The pressure is being piled on to the driver who managed to climb up into second at the start of the race, and the timing tower on the left there signals that Blurry is out. Blurry has crashed out in the second race in a row here at Spa, and he'll get no points for his efforts. Oscar will take the championship lead at this rate. A lock-up from Ido, and an even bigger mistake from Avery that sends him spinning off the track. Both Miko and Pen Striker get past him. He'll try to rejoin as fast as possible. There's a bit of a bigger gap between him and Blazin, who apparently has had a puncture, and that's why he's been dropping down the pack. There is Blurry sitting on the side of the track. There's nothing he can do there. Completely beached and damaged to suspension, I assume. And Miko is now on the back of Ido, showing brilliant pace here. He's managed to get down the inside, but it'll become the outside come to the chicane. Idodatdoda looks like he's still ahead just by a little bit, and he is able to withstand the pressure that Miko was applying on him. As we start the second lap, oh no, and Ido is spun. So all that pressure did amount to something, and he is now spun out of the podium positions and will drop right down to fourth place. That extends the gap to Oscar ever so more as he comes through the first corner now, going very wide and off into the runoff. But Miko now chasing him for the win of the race, just like in Suzuka. And here comes Ido again, having another spin on the very next corner. After looking completely bulletproof in the sprint yesterday, Ido is looking a whole lot more vulnerable now. Apex has managed to climb all the way back up into the 6th position. Very impressive from him. Blazin here coming in to the pit lane because of the puncture that he had. And he'll be able to rejoin the race now and try to catch up to the drivers ahead. Bones also coming through the last corner. He had suspension damage through that whole lap. You can see the rear of his tyre bent. He's still struggling just to get in the pit lane. He makes contact with the wall. And here's a replay to see what happened to Blurry in that opening lap. This is where we saw him earlier at the Lecombe chicane in the entry to the corner. After the long camel straight, here he comes. And he dips a wheel onto the grass, and that spins off into the barrier. And even that little tap was enough to damage the suspension and beach him in the grass there, enough so that he can't get out. And yet again we have Oscar leading the race by a pretty decent margin already, only 2 laps into the race. He's been very dominant thus far, ever since he came into the series, and no one's really had an answer yet to combat his race pace. But the crash at the start of the sprint is in review, and he might be getting a grid penalty for the next race because of that. So at least that time, he might not be starting from pole, and someone else will have a shot at starting in the front position. Miko chasing him down. He's also shown excellent pace, been one of the faster drivers ever since he joined last race in Suzuka. Many people think he'll be the one that could potentially dethrone Oscar in his dominance. But now they come around to finish the second lap of the race. Oscar heading through that final chicane, and Miko following him. He's a little bit closer than the last lap, but only by a tad. Ido keeping the car pointed in the right direction, this time heading through the chicane. If he keeps it clean, he should have the pace to get past Pen Striker ahead of him. Apex is reportedly out of this race. At the moment he's still in 9th because Seth and NV are that much slower, but it's a tragedy for him, as Pens has a massive lock-up into the first corner, and this will give Ido an excellent run. He's right on the gearbox of Pen Striker. He's going to have an excellent slipstream up into Eau-Rouge. Pen Striker is in search of his first podium, and it's an amazing effort to get up into 3rd, but keeping behind the sprint winner will be a challenge as we head up the hill. Not the best place for overtaking, but the long straight afterwards, the camel straight into the Lecombe chicane, is an amazing place to make some moves, and we've seen plenty of move before. As Ido swoops past, even before we get there on the straight, Pens is trying to keep that outside line, but it's no use, so he'll dart in behind and try to get as much slipstream as he can before the corner. And he looks to the inside, but is way too far back to make a move, and that puts him outside of the podium positions. The dream was alive for a bit, but now it's going to be hard to get past the 3 cars ahead, 3 of the fastest drivers in the series so far. But it's never over until it's over. Anything's possible in these races. Here's Apex, parked on the apex of a very fast area that's quite dangerous as the drivers go wide to avoid it, and I think that was Oscar going past. And here comes Miko, also taking a bit of a wider berth to avoid an incident. Here's a replay so we can see what happened. Didn't look like there was much damage to Apex's car, so he's following Avery down into the corner that we saw him at, and he's heading in everything seems normal. Oh, and he just gets a little wide and spins around. And maybe that was enough for them to call it quits and retire the car, as he's parked in the middle of the road. Fortunately, he was able to drive it a bit forwards to get out of the way, so no cars crash with him, and that's where he is now, stranded on the side of the road. Everyone bar Apex and Blurry will score points today. As much as it is about racing, in these races it really does help to survive. You can get so many more places just by staying in the race, rather than making those daring and amazing but risky overtakes. Blazin down in 7th after that puncture at the start. He's now hunting down Halos for 6th position. He'll want to make these moves as quickly as possible so he can get back up into the top couple of positions. Halos getting a bit wobbly on exit there, and he's dipping a wheel into the grass. Blazin will have much more speed heading into the corner now, and dives down the inside to complete the pass. Halos almost going off track there with another lockup, but Blazin will zoom into 6th position, and Halos drops down to 7th, and Zeta is now out of the race, it appears. He's stranded offside at the track near the last chicane. Unfortunately, that's race over for Zeta, down in 10th position. He'll score 1 point for his efforts today. Let's have a look at what happened to him. So Miko cuts across. Oh, and it looks like there might have been a ping-related crash there. Neither car's making contact on their ends, but in the end, Zeta does get hit. Oh, and Ido's struggling there as he swerves around the track. It looks like he's carrying some sort of damage in his rear tire. Oh no, and Halos makes contact and is launched into the wall and flips back upright, but with both his front tires off the car, and Ido is also on the wall. Halos is trying desperately to continue, but I think it's the end for him. He'll have to settle for 9th position in this race, but it will still get him 2 points. Ido seems pretty keen to get out of it. He's still got some tires strapped to the front of his car, and the pits are only down the end of his straight, so he should be able to make it back. But Halos won't even be able to steer that thing. He has no front tires at all. Avery, Blazin and Bones all getting free positions because of that incident. Oscar now lapping Seth on the 4th lap of his race. Seth making it a little bit difficult, so Oscar's going to have to go off the track to make the pass. But it is blue flags for Seth, so he does have to get out of the way. Unfortunate for him because it's not his fault that he's slower, but his computer can't handle this many cars, and so he has a reduction in frames and performance. Ido has managed to get back to the pits in a very poor state, it has to be said, but a state nonetheless that he can get in and repair and then get back out there. He is in the championship battle too, so it's important to get some decent points. Onto the camel straight we go. Blazin's got a good slipstream on Avery. Oh, and it's another incident, and he loses his front wing, hitting the back of Avery in a clumsy mistake there from Blazin, and it looks like he's stuck in the grass. It'll be another driver not finishing this race. There's been plenty of them so far, and another has come. There's 2 cars now struggling in the grass of that corner. It's been quite a deadly place all weekend. Bones will take another free position and add it to his collection. He's had a couple of those this weekend where cars ahead of him have crashed, and he's gotten the rewards for it. 5th position at the moment. Oscar's shown no signs of slowing down as he approaches the final lap of his race. Once again, he's dominated from the start to the finish of the race. He hasn't dropped out of first once in the whole of the 4 laps so far, and there's only 1 to go with a big gap. Looks like he's looking pretty good for another victory. A historic victory, because it'll be the first time not only that a driver wins back-to-back, but that a driver wins 2 main races at all. He'll be the first to do that. Idodatdoda some ways off, only starting his 4th lap. His woes today were caused by his own mistake though, one that caused an unlucky chain of events that has sent him down to the lower end of the field, only Blazin and Seth behind, one of which is a whole lap behind, and the other is sitting on the side of the road, unmoving. So it's been a tough day for Idodatdoda, and he'll be looking to bounce back in Baku, which is the next race on the calendar. That is going to be even more chaotic than this. The first street circuit to be on the calendar of the F4 series. And this is Avery now that we're looking at, heading towards the last corner. That just shows how much the field has spread in the later stages of this race, heading through the last chicane and starting his last lap of the race, going a bit deep there actually, going right off the track. But he'll start the last race with no one around him. And there's Blazin now getting laps, but he's inching slowly towards the road. And is he going to be able to get himself out? He does, and then Miko comes and hits him straight away. How unfortunate. That's a very unsafe rejoin from Blazin. He might be picking up a penalty for that one, and now Miko has got a big damage. He might not be able to hold off Penn Striker for that 2nd position, as Blazin is now parked on the racing line almost. Here comes Penn Striker into the Lecombe chicane. Will he be able to dodge Miko in time? Oh, and there's a lock up there, so he'll go deep, but he manages to go around safely enough. Seth is also now heading to the scene of the incident, and he has plenty of time to see him because of how slow he's going, but he almost hits him still, and he'll head on safely through. Blazin there, and Bones is off. Bones is now also out of the race, it looks like, so he must have also had an incident in the later part of the lap. He's still on his 4th lap, so he won't even get to the last lap there. There's Miko going through for his final lap, and heavy damage on his car. You can see the trail of smoke being left behind that I'm sure is getting in the way, and he goes off track there. This is a free position for Pens, and he's going to go up into 2nd for his first ever podium. It's been an absolutely brilliant race for Pens, and while he has gotten lucky at times, he's really earned it in the way he's driven today. Avery is quite a far way behind, so Miko should be safe from losing his podium position. He'll have to crawl with that damage all the way to the line though, because there's no point in pitting now. It's the last lap as Pen Striker heads to the end of the lap. And here is the man that has been faster than them all. The first time that a driver win back-to-back main races in the series. Oscar crosses the line first in Spa to take an absolutely crushing victory. Pens in 2nd position is still a while back. He's heading now towards the final chicane. So that's what, almost 30 seconds difference in a 5-lap race. That is absolutely mental as he heads towards the last chicane, taking it as carefully as he can as not to lose any more positions or have anything else dramatic happens. And he's gotten out of the last corner, and he will cross the line for 2nd position, his best result in the series again. He's done that twice this weekend now. And round comes the wounded Miko. He deserved a 2nd place today, but he will not be able to do it because of that unsafe rejoin from Blazin. But he still comes home with a podium position despite both the incidents that he's been a part of. Seth will come home a lap down compared to the rest of the field, but he will still get past Bones, who didn't finish his 4th lap, and there Avery will pass Seth on the last lap and get 4th position, even though he's a lap ahead. And here comes Ido, the last driver still alive in this race. There's been so many incidents, so many crashes, and a whole 6 drivers not finishing this race. But nonetheless, Ido will come across the line here to claim 5th position. That's still 10 points. Very good towards this championship standings, as here we have the race results. Oscar with yet another win and another 25 points added to his tally. Pen Striker gets 18 points, which is more than double what he had before, so a big result for him. He can move 8 positions up in that race. Miko gets another podium, and Avery just misses out by 1 spot. Ido having a couple of incidents down in 5th. The slow Seth survives and still was able to get 6th position. Bones got 7th after crashing on the 2nd last lap, and then Halos also had an incident that left him out of the race, but he'll pick up 2 points for 8th position because Blazin will receive a 1-place penalty for the incident that he had with Miko, and then behind him is Envy Zeta picking up the last of the points, and Apex and Blurry unfortunately crashing out early in the race and not scoring. And now Oscar leads the championship because of that 65 points to his name. He jumps both Blurry and Ido to get up into 1st position. Seth somehow retains 4th even despite his pace problems. Blazin into 5th, losing 1 position. Miko continues to move up the order, and Pen Striker also gains a bunch of positions. Bones loses 1 position there. Apex will lose a bunch of spots for not scoring, and so does Farmboy, Burning, and Wizard for not being able to make today's race. Halos and Envy Zeta still occupy the bottom 2 positions, and Avery gains 1 place for his 4th position today. I hope you enjoyed today's race. I sure did. It was another cracker, and the sprint especially was absolutely incredible. So if you haven't seen that one yet, make sure you check it out now. The next race weekend is Baku, so subscribe so you don't miss that one, and you can watch it as soon as it comes out. That one's going to be absolute chaos, and I'll see you then. Until then, goodbye.